And we are back. Welcome back to the prediction series. It is our first midweek predictions of the season, and it is game week 5. After, well, quite frankly, the last couple of days have been dominated by massive transfers. £86 million for Anthony to Manchester United, subject to medical. £75 million for Fofana to Chelsea, again, subject to medical. £50 million for Lucas Paqueta to sign for West Ham. I think that could prove to be an absolutely phenomenal signing. And yeah, I mean, that alone is £250 million just on 3 players in the last couple of days. And it doesn't look like the spending is going to stop there. I think a lot of deals are going to happen over the course of the next few days. All in all, it is looking very exciting for the Premier League once again. As for the on-the-pitch action, we of course had Liverpool's incredible 9-0 win over Bournemouth. And, well, Crystal Palace going 2, in my opinion, should have been going 3-0 up against Man City before that incredible Erling Haaland hat-trick, which meant that Man City got the win in the end. Let's go ahead and do our usual process, see how those results affected our points total before looking ahead to the midweek fixtures. As always, if you enjoy this series, please let me know by dropping a like, sharing it with a friend, subscribing to the channel and ringing the bell. And let's get into those Game Week 4 results. So, this is what I went for, and it was a much better week this week because these were the results. As you can see, we got our first couple of correct scores, going for 2-1 for Chelsea and Leicester and 2-0 to Spurs, so 6 points from those 2 games. We also got an awful lot of the others right as well. Just the 3 incorrect results this week. Brentford, I was very surprised didn't win at home to Everton. West Ham, I'm not too surprised, got the win against Aston Villa. Aston Villa made a very poor start to the season, and I do believe, like I said in yesterday's fantasy football video, that Steven Gerrard's job could definitely be at risk in the coming days. And I thought Wolves put in a fantastic performance against Newcastle. Newcastle, of course, without a recognised striker in the end, other than Chris Wood, who hasn't really performed for them so far. So interesting to see how they do this week. That meant that we got a game week score of 11, which is easily our best performance so far this season, and brings our season score up to 24. As always, let me know down in the comments how you got on, and let's get into these midweek fixtures. And we start with tonight's games. We have a few games tonight, starting off with Crystal Palace and Brentford. Based on what I've seen from these clubs over the last couple of games, realistically, I think there is only going to be one winner, and that is going to be Crystal Palace. I'm going to go for 3-1. Whether or not Wilfried Zaha is going to be available, I think could be a factor in this. But like I said, they essentially were 3-0 up against Man City without him. So I think they're more than capable of beating Brentford without him if that is the case. If he is fit, of course, I think it will then be even easier. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 win for Crystal Palace there. On to the next one, we have Fulham and Brighton. And I think this is a tough one to call because Brighton have made a fantastic start to the season. I forgot to mention I did get a Brighton prediction right on that previous screen for the first time in a very long while. They come up against a Fulham side that have really surprised everyone. Obviously that draw against Liverpool, couple of wins, and well, they were very, very close to getting at least a point against Arsenal. I thought they played really well in that one as well. So given the starts that they've made, I can't really split them right now. I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for 1-1. It really wouldn't surprise me to see either side win this, and that is obviously why I have gone down the middle. Next up, we have Southampton and Chelsea. Chelsea, of course, have made a very inconsistent start to the season. Southampton have played really well. I thought they were fantastic against Manchester United and were arguably unlucky not to get the A result against them. I still think Chelsea probably offer a little bit too much quality for Southampton at this point in time. I said that last weekend about the Leeds-Chelsea game, and that obviously ended up being 3-0 to Leeds. So I am cautious about this prediction, but I am going to go for 2-0 to Chelsea. Finally, on tonight's games, we have Leeds against Everton, and Everton did well to get the result against Brentford. I'd also argue they got incredibly lucky, considering how many times Brentford hit the woodwork, and obviously Leeds have made a fantastic start to the season. So when you look at each side's respective performances, it would be a surprise to see Leeds not win this one. So with that said, that is what I am going to go for, and I'm going to go for 2-1 to Leeds. I could definitely see it being more, but at the same time, it wouldn't shock me if Everton were able to scrape a draw there as well. Next up, we have Arsenal against Aston Villa, the side that has won all 4 games so far in the Premier League against the side that has really struggled to establish itself with its new signings. Obviously, they've had the major injury to Diego Carlos, but it's all looked a little bit disjointed under Steven Gerrard, like I already said. I expect that reign of form to continue, and I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to Arsenal. I think if they turn up the way that those young players are playing right now, they will blow Aston Villa away if given the opportunity to do so. Next up, we have Bournemouth against Wolves. Bournemouth looking for a response to that 9-0 defeat at Liverpool. Wolves probably need to pick me up themselves after looking like they were going to win against Newcastle before that unbelievable St. Maximin goal. I think if we're just going based on the last couple of games and the quality of players on the pitch, Scott Parker has outlined already this week how desperately Bournemouth need new signings because they're not equipped to compete at Premier League level. And if that's what the manager thinks about the team, then who am I to say that they're going to do any better than that? So I'm going to go for 2-1 to Wolves. I think that is justifiable. I think Wolves are a much better team. And again, it wouldn't surprise me if it was even more than that, to be honest. Next up, we have Man City up against Nottingham Forest in another game that I'll be interested to see how this goes. Nottingham Forest, I thought, played really well at the weekend. They created a lot of chances, but in the end, it just wasn't enough against Spurs, thanks to those 2 Harry Kane goals. Man City, you would obviously expect to win. It's just going to be a question of how many can either team score. I mean, everyone expected Man City to beat Crystal Palace comfortably, and obviously they did score 4 but conceded 2. So I'm going to go for 5-1. I don't really know where else to put it. This is very much a question of how many can City score one way whilst keeping out the other way. It's very old school Pep Guardiola Barcelona where you'd see them win 6-2 every other week. So I'm going to go for 5-1 and just leave it at that. Probably the biggest game of the week is another London derby between West Ham and Tottenham. West Ham getting their first win of the season at the weekend. Tottenham now on 10 points out of a possible 12. I think this game probably comes a little bit too early for West Ham. It's unclear whether or not Lucas Paqueta is going to be available for this game. If he is, I'd be very interested to see A, if he starts, and B, if he does start, how well he performs, because he's coming up against a very, very good Tottenham team that have made a really good start to the season. So, like I said, I think this game is a little bit too early on West Ham's sort of mini resurgence after their win at Aston Villa. I'm going to go for 2-0 to Spurs again, like I did at the weekend. But again, wouldn't surprise me to see West Ham get the result. I just feel like this is a game Tottenham should be winning at this moment in time. Finally, on Wednesday, we have Liverpool coming up against Newcastle. And I think this is a little bit easier to call now because of the 9-0. Like, genuinely, if Liverpool had only scraped the victory against Bournemouth, I may have been tempted to give Newcastle the result. Maybe not the win, but certainly a result here at Anfield. But given that Liverpool seemed to be back to their best, I am going to go for 3-1 to Liverpool. I would also say if St. Maximin looks like he is injured, because he seemed to get himself injured scoring that goal, he seemed to pick up a hamstring injury. So if he's not going to be available, I could see this being maybe like a 4-0 or even a 5-0. I just think without that threat going the other way, it'll allow Trent Alexander-Arnold far too much space to dominate down that right-hand side. So we shall see, but for now I am just going to go for the 3-1 win for Liverpool. And finally, we have the Thursday night game, which is Leicester against Manchester United. And for those of you who watched my fantasy football video, a link to that will be available at the end of the video, you'll know that I have a very, very bad feeling about this one. And that is going to reflect in my prediction. I'm going to go for 2-2. I do think we should win this game. I really do. I think we should be winning this game, but our record against Leicester speaks for itself, and they're looking for a response. They now know the fate of Fofana. He's obviously going to Chelsea. Still question marks over Tielemans. Still question marks over whether or not Maddison will be fit for this game. So if all those things are working against Leicester, then we should absolutely, definitely win this game. But I just can't shake this feeling that these players get themselves into this false sense of security. We've beaten Liverpool. We've beaten Southampton. So, okay, we're back. We'll just chill out again and blow it against Leicester going into the Arsenal game at the weekend. So I'm optimistic. I think that we should, like I say, win this game, but I'm being cautious on my prediction, and I'm going to go for 2-2. And that is going to be it for today's video. As always, I will put each fixture in the description of this video, allowing you to copy and paste down into the comments, letting me know what you think is going to happen in these games. And that is going to be it. So all that's left to say is thank you very much for watching, and I will be back on Thursday for my reaction to the Manchester United-Leicester game. Thank you very much for watching.